What is up, guys? Welcome back to yet another brand new Major Ben Gaming video. I hope you guys are having a fantastic day as always. Now, in this video today, we've obviously done the separate videos showing off PS5 Pro in Lost Solar side and the base PS5. Now we're putting them side by side. This was a really tough video to make because there's not many sequences in this game that are like long sequences that you can just go back through to capture footage of certain areas. So I've used the very starting area, and we don't have the most footage to go through, but there's a decent amount here to have a look and compare. So we're going to be doing the 60 FPS modes comparison, the 30 FPS modes comparison, and then at the end we will do the 60 FPS PS5 Pro mode versus the base PS5 30 FPS mode, so we can see if the PS5 Pro is producing 30 FPS quality like base PS5 actual image quality, but with 60 frames. So that'll be an interesting one to do at the end. But before we get into this, please leave a like and subscribe if you are enjoying these videos. Let me know if there's any other comparisons you would like to see down below, but let's dive in. Alright, so we are here with the side-by-sides. We've got PS5 Pro on the right, the 60 FPS mode against the PS5 60 FPS mode on the left. And there is a difference in sort of resolution here. They both are apparently running a dynamic res, and you can certainly see that there is sharper image quality on the right, particularly when looking into the distance, because you know you can just see the image quality is slightly sharper. In terms of actual detail, there's not really a lot of difference between the two modes. Shadows very much look the same, the lighting very much looks the same, but yeah, I think there's also slightly less shimmering on PlayStation 5 Pro than there is on the base PS5 also. But other than that, there's not really a lot in this little scene here that we're walking through. And by the way, I had to do this walking very slowly because it's really actually hard to line up the footage, especially when this game has so many little sort of save areas where you're locked out of the next area. So if I run too far up to a certain point, I get into a cutscene and I can't go back from that point. And also there's no like skippable cutscenes in this game, so it's quite tough to line everything up. So as you can see, you can make a decision for yourself. There's definitely more haziness on the left and more fuzziness on the left, and it's certainly sharper on the right side with PS5 Pro. That's the first little clip of the 60 FPS modes here. I do also have a very short little extra bit here between the two modes again for you to take a look at this little like scene in this part of the game as well. All I can say is it's just a sharpness difference between these two modes. It's nothing major compared to the other games we've seen, like Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, which, speaking of that, this game seems very similar in terms of what they're trying to show. Like, this seems like a Final Fantasy like game, and I'm looking forward to taking a dive into this one. Let me know if you've played any of this, or you're planning on picking it up, or it's something that you are interested in general. It's part of the China project that PlayStation have been doing, where they're sort of trying to help fund projects. So that's really interesting. So they're obviously keen on this one. But going over now to the 30 frames per second modes, this one is even more difficult to spot. In fact, pretty much, I'm pretty sure that there's basically zero difference in these two modes on the 30 FPS. You guys can let me know otherwise if I've missed something or seen something that's quite different, but I personally do not think there is a single bit of difference in the 30 FPS modes. They look like they're identical in terms of like pop in and draw distance. Things load in at the same time to me, like exactly the same time. I have done my best to line up the clips as much as possible. It's quite hard to do. I'm obviously new to doing this, so I'm excited to like improve in my own skill of actually lining up these clips and making things better. And this was just a very particularly hard game to do. There's no manual save where you can load up a certain section of the game. There's no skippable cutscenes, so this one took a lot longer to do, purely based on the fact that we just don't have those features. So I apologize for sort of like pausing on the left side there. I kind of like, it was just difficult to actually line everything up, and I was trying to watch the clip at the same time as sort of line things up as well as I can. FPS wise, just to touch on that, there is very minor sort of stutter issues loading into new areas, very minor hitching, but in terms of actual performance when playing the game, both modes are locked to 60 or 30. I've not had any issues going off my monitor's refresh rate counter. I know people say those aren't always accurate, and I understand that, but with my own eyes, and you guys can see from the two videos I've done on each platform, the PS5 Pro video and the PS5 video, that there is really like not a difference, not a problem with any any stutters or sorry, there is a problem with stutters, but not a problem with any FPS drops in any part of that. So, you know, you can see it for yourself. I've done multiple videos on this game now. You can go back and watch them and see if you can spot them. You can spot them as well as I can. I don't like to do numbers and everything like that. In the end of the day, what you see is what you're getting. I capture incredibly high quality. There is YouTube compression, so do bear that in mind when you are watching these side-by-side videos from any channel. It makes no difference who's doing them. There is YouTube compression, so you will lose out on image clarity compared to what you're seeing. But in 30 FPS mode, there is no difference between the two. Now, we're going to have a look at the Pro 60 FPS mode on the right against the base PS5 30 FPS mode. And I have to say, these line up pretty well in terms of sharpness. I would say the 30 FPS mode on the base PlayStation 5 has sort of less shimmering. If you look at this grate on the floor that's sort of coming up, there's slight shimmering on the right, but not so much there on the left. I think overall, in terms of sharpness, they're fairly similar between these two modes. This is more of a comparison, put it that way, than the 60 FPS modes on each. I think the left 30 FPS mode is slightly sharper in terms of detail than the PS5 Pro, but again, I'll let you guys make your own decisions on that. I've just done the side-by-sides to show you what actually you can make the decision for yourself and to see which you know, what system you have and whether you're pleased with each. But of course, the right is running double the frame rate compared to the left side, and I would 100% in any day take the PS5 Pro mode over the 30 FPS quality mode on the base PlayStation 5, and I'd certainly take it the 60 FPS mode on Pro against the 60 FPS mode on PS5. So some slight differences. I would say the right mode actually, in some, it's very, very difficult. It's so close, but the fact that you've got double the frame rate on the right side is certainly what you want to see. So one more little clip after this to go through between the two modes, just to see if you can spot any differences here. And again, the right side is running double the frame rate, so do bear that in mind with your comparisons of what you're looking at. But there's not much more to talk about really between these two modes, other than I'm just excited to play this game. I would like anybody who's picked this one up or is excited for this one to let me know if they've bought the game or they're interested in trying this one out after seeing this video or whatever, or any of my other videos on this game. As I said, this is part of the PlayStation sort of pushing the and funding some China projects, which is always good to see them funding other things. So yeah, let me know what you think. Let me know if you can see any differences down in the comments below. I'm always interested to get your opinions on that. So yeah, let me know. So without further ado, we'll end the video. Let me know what other comparisons you'd like to see, if there's any other games. Literally, I own most PlayStation 5 games, especially Pro patched ones. So if you want to see any Pro patched PlayStation 5 games, or we want to go through PS4 games on this channel, then we absolutely can. Some are hard to make. Like I said, this one was tough to put together with the lack of saves and lack of skippable cutscenes. That sort of stuff is frustrating, but any comparisons you do want to see from myself, I can just line the clips up side by side to show you what you're working with in terms of the two modes, and I think it's interesting enough to just spot your own differences without seeing what's what. And maybe in some we'll actually do tests where we turn off the you know, letters for PS5 and PS5 Pro on the left and right, and see if you can actually spot them for yourselves. And sometimes I'll jumble them up, and then we can do a test and see who can get it right in the comments at the end of each video. I thought perhaps that could be something fun that we do going forward in the future. But thank you so much for watching. Thanks for all your support on all the videos. I really appreciate it. Leave a like, subscribe, and I will see you in future videos, guys. Bye bye for now.